And there we go. And we will email the recording out to all of those who registered. Our first presenter will be Amy Overman from JCP&L. She is a regional external affairs consultant at Jersey Central Power and Light, JCP&L, and she represents JCP&L as a liaison with government officials and supports local community involvement activities. Amy's territory in her position at JCP&L External Affairs covers all of Hunterdon County and parts of Warren County. Amy was named to this position in 2022 and joins JCP&L after a 14-year career in the New Jersey legislature. Amy Overman earned her bachelor's degree in history from Douglas College, Rutgers University. So now we will start.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for that introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Overman, as Catherine said, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on grid resiliency. I'm very excited about it in Hunterdon County. I see a lot of familiar faces as well as some new faces. So hello, everyone. And with that, I'm going to start. I'm going to start sharing my screen here with this. Now, can you see my screen or no?
I'm not seeing anything yet.
Okay. As I hit the share screen, let's see. Layouts, no. They want to. Oh, okay. I think here we go.
There we go.
There we go. Now you can see it, correct?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now what I want to do though, I want to start this from the beginning. There we go. Okay, so everybody could see my screen. Just let me know if you can't. Give a shout. This is our electrical grid resilience presentation from the JCP&L side. Jersey Central Power and Light. So the first thing I want to go over with grid resiliency, and I know some of you have seen this a lot, is basically our restoration system. And the reason I do this first is just because it ties into the grid resiliency, and talking about that further, it's really important to understand how the power works before I get into the resiliency. So whenever there's an outage, whether it's large or small or whatnot, JCP&L, we followed a standard utility format for how we address outages. The very first thing we do is we isolate and make safe our outages. The second thing we do is, you could see this kind of works all in a flow. So we always repair after major storms and outages any high voltage lines or transmission lines that are down. We restore our essential functions. This is key before we can go over to our local substations, which we would be repairing next. And once you have your transmission lines and your local substations up in an outage, you can then move on to all your critical facilities, as we call them, our hospitals, our warming centers, schools, things of that nature. And also we work on opening roadways at that time as well. From there, we always repair our main feeder and distribution lines. And then we restore the largest areas with the largest numbers of customers on them first. And then we restore individual homes at the end. And that's a safety mechanism, that we bring up the largest number of customers first. And it's a standard utility procedure too. And I just like to emphasize that. But anyways, the key takeaways are that you go from your transmission lines, your local substations, it flows through the distribution. The substation will often, feed out critical facilities and then local neighborhoods. So I just wanted all of us briefly to keep this in mind as we're talking about, grid resiliency and what we can all do, like on our end. Today, what I wanted to mainly focus on, I guess I should have done my little numbers. There we go. So we do 1, 2. I just want to go to the next one. With grid resiliency, what I wanted to focus in on is what JCP&L does on our end, and then what also customers can do on their end as well. So let's go. Okay. I just like to say too that whether it's storms, whether it's grid resiliency, JCP&L, we're always planning and preparing. We have full-time meteorologists at First Energy and JCP&L, that they're constantly monitoring the storm. I'm going to get into this a little more later, but alongside that, when you're dealing with grid resiliency, we also have planning engineers who are constantly looking at planning and load. So you have our meteorologists monitoring the weather in that storm mode. And then in your, what we call our blue skies mode, when there's not storms, you have a lot of planning engineers and reliability engineers, as we call them, kind of monitoring our grid. And then what we do in a storm mode is, if our meteorologists are picking up there's a storm, part of our preparedness, we do conference calls to plan our response. What kind of mutual assistance do we need? What kind of staffing do we need? How do we prepare staging areas, supplies? What will we need, to restore the power as quickly as possible? And also during our planning and preparation, we communicate. One of my big goals is to communicate externally, both in preparation, during a storm, and after. So that's, we plan and we prepare, and that's part of our communication too about our grid resiliency. So I figured I'd start out by saying some ways when we're in storm, how customers can prepare and be resilient in those ways. What you always want to do is you want to keep your electronic devices, such as cell phones, laptops, and tablet computers, fully charged. If you're, if we're having a big storm and we anticipate there might be high winds and outages, this is also true for electric vehicles, which I know is a common discussion as well. You want to keep them charged as well, very similar to your other devices as we move into a arena where we're going to have more electric vehicles. You'll want to keep a flashlight, portable radio, extra batteries handy, extra blankets or sleeping bags during a storm, water wells and pumps. You always want to stay safe, and I can't emphasize this enough, but never go near down power lines. You want to report them immediately to your local police or fire department, call 911. Never use a portable generator inside the house or a closed garage. You don't want to use gas stoves, kerosene, or other open flame sources to keep warm. We always stay connected to us. You report your outages by calling 88 Lights. We also have email and text features now you can sign up for outages and statuses. And that's basically just being prepared in storm situations, as we all should be. Those are just some tips there. So, as far as JCP&L and grid resiliency, one thing I really wanted to focus on today that our planning and reliability engineering department has been focused on is an infrastructure investment filing we recently did called Energize New Jersey, which is actually currently under review by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, who's also joining us today on this call. But very recently, JCP&L, we proposed a 5-year plan that's going to strengthen the backbone of our electrical system and really fits into this topic of grid resiliency and preparation. So just kind of as an overview, we serve approximately 1.1 million residential, commercial, and industrial customers, JCP&L across 13 counties and 236 municipalities. We employ approximately 1,500 New Jersey-based workers. And most importantly, our company maintains and operates more than 26,000 miles of transmission and distribution lines in the state. So your transmission lines are those big lines that you see, and then your distribution lines are what's locally serving your neighborhood, like the wires in front of your homes and on the major roads and whatnot. So over the past decade, JCP&L economic developments, we've helped facilitate new jobs, and that's definitely a component of Energize New Jersey. JCP&L, we do always put customers and the environment first, and I just wanted to note that as well as it pertains to this filing. So let's get to the filing with the grid resiliency. I'm going to give an overview, and then I'm going to dive a little deeper into Hunterdon County. But basically, JCP&L, we filed for a $935 million proposal. It's our largest infrastructure upgrade investment in the company to date. The goal of this is we want to enhance reliability performance. We want to harden the grid against storms. We want to expand capacity more, and we're building the backbone of the electric grid of the future. And again, this was done by This proposal was put together by our reliability engineers and our planning engineers, and this is their whole job. This is a whole separate department we have at JCPL where they're monitoring outages in real time, reliability to see where and what improvements may be needed, but also planning for the future. There is a move towards more electric vehicles, more cars, more electrification, and we're investing in our infrastructure to meet those demands. And this is part of that. So we have three key components with Energize New Jersey. There's grid modernization, system resiliency, and substation modernization. Just to go more specifically into Hunterdon County, I'm really, really excited about this project, and I was excited to come today and talk about it as it pertains to Hunterdon County. There will be infrastructure investments proposed in Energize New Jersey totaling about $132 million and change for the county. There's 99 projects within Hunterdon County that are divided in these three territories. And basically what you're going to see, but the product would be if this project were approved in its entirety, is you're going to see more storm resilient, more resiliency in the storms. Our equipment right now can handle rain and some wind and things like that, but this is really going to crank it up, similar to what you would see in Florida, by making these infrastructure investments. And it will go a long way to improve reliability for Hunterdon County residents, which I know is a topic of conversation. So what this work's going to do, it's going to further isolate outages to affect smaller groups of customers by doing the grid modernization, system resiliency, and substation modernization, and it's going to shorten outage durations. What will happen as a result of these projects is JCP&L, we're going to have an increased ability that we're going to be building on to perform what's called more switching of circuits and substations. So what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to expand our loads more on our subsystems. And we're also going to be creating, we already have all this in Hunterdon, but we're going to be building on it. We're going to be making tie points. And what that means is that you might be on a certain circuit or substation. And with these improvements and by expanding the load, we're going to be able to quickly get you on another circuit or even another substation in some cases, which I'm very, very excited about. And this is going to greatly shorten outage durations. The more we're able to switch people on, but you have to have the load to do it. And this is part of building that out. And then also, a very key thing I want to talk about is as part of this program, Hunterdon County is going to receive what's called an additional 43 trip savers, and we're targeting them throughout the county. Trip savers, just to explain what they are for those who may not know, they're automated devices that they help limit the frequency and duration of power outages. Trip savers are fantastic. What they do is they sense temporary abnormal conditions. And then the most common one I like to use is a tree blowing on the power line, a tree limb, I should say, blowing on the power line. But then it kind of clears itself. It comes off the power line. And what the trip saver does is it will automatically re-energize the line after that temporary condition, like a tree limb blowing on a line, has passed. So what happens is that trip saver will I believe it tries 3 times to re-energize the line if a disturbance clears itself, and therefore it saves a trip from a line and having to come out with the traditional fuse and shutting it. So the more we're able to have trip savers throughout the county, the more reliability we'll see too. And then what's great about Energize New Jersey is JCP&L is also replacing and upgrading the wiring that supports these trip savers in many cases. What trip savers also do is, say if there is a true disturbance too, they help isolate so that a smaller group of customers is impacted than would be traditionally impacted. And you'll know too, you'll know a trip saver because you literally, your power will go on and off as it's restoring. So sometimes too, that's a trip saver. I tell people, like if your lights flicker and come back on, that's the trip saver actually doing its job of clearing. And they're especially helpful in our more wooded areas with tree limbs and whatnot. So something very important with Energize New Jersey too is that this plan, it builds upon system enhancements that JCP&L completed from a similar program that was called Reliability Plus in 2019. Reliability Plus was a Board of Public Utilities approved project. And I do want to mention with that project that all of JCP&L's work for that, it was completed on time and on budget by December 31st, 2020. And trip savers were installed during that time as well in 2019. And they prevented more than 3.2 million minutes of cumulative customer outages within 24 months of installation. And just for reference, during the Reliability Plus program in 2019, there were approximately 308 trip savers that were installed at Hunterdon County municipalities at that time. So there are a lot of trip savers out there and what we call reclosers in Hunterdon County, which do a similar work to trip savers. So in addition to the substation and circuitry upgrades that we're proposing for the county during Energize New Jersey, Hunterdon County, JCP&L is also proposing the installation of these 43 additional trip savers in targeted areas of the county. So we feel that's going to go a long way to build on what we've already been doing to further isolate and reduce outages for residents. And then also with a lot of this grid modernization, system resiliency, and substation modernization, it will in turn make our equipment even more storm resilient. So that's just I kind of went over this and I just took the deep dive on Hunterdon, but as a whole, this program, that's the highlights of what we're doing. There's a lot of overhead power line work. And this is all part of these projects in Hunterdon County. They're all in there. We have overhead, we have the trip saver devices, we have grid modernization enhancements, and that's our system resiliency. We're doing voltage standardization. We have that. And I do have a video about trip savers. I just wanted to show everyone. That will go a long way to kind of explain what they do and how they work.
Amy, it's Bob Hornby with Hunterdon County. The audio is not sharing on that video.
Oh, okay. It's not sharing. It was sharing on my end. I'm not sure what's going on then. So I can hear it. Well, I could always send it to you, Catherine, too, for when you send out to the group. Does that work?
That sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
shame.
do it that way. Because I can hear it, but I'm not sure why it's not.
Well,
And I don't want to.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if the Zoom had a share sound option and I wasn't seeing anything.
Okay.
But also we did have a question previously of what the people in the buckets were doing. So they were installing one of these trip savers. That's what you were showing in.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Correct. So they're installing one of the trip savers. And then let me go and see, that's what it looks like. So you know. Oh. So you could see what because you will see them up in the lines. I see them a lot throughout our service territory. But that's what they look like. They're bigger than a traditional fuse, and you'll see them up there. And that was let me see. Yeah, you'll see them up on the lines. And yeah, just if the video's not playing, I could at least show going up and installing those trip savers, and then I can send you this video, Catherine. But yeah, and then it's not playing. So okay, so that pretty much concludes my presentation, my portion of the presentation. And I know at some point too, there's going to be a Q&A, and I'm happy to take questions. I also have my manager here with me, Jackie Espinoza, who can assist with that as well.
Well, we really only had questions about what the box was. So they are not cameras. They They are the trip savers, and that was useful information. We'll make sure the video works and get that out to everyone. Let's see. So we'll see if there are more questions for Amy or Jackie, and otherwise we will turn to the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities for our next speakers. We have Jim Brancati and Brian Beam, who will be speaking from the BPU. And Mr. Brancati served 25 years in the New Jersey State Police, retiring in 2002 as a lieutenant. He served as a road trooper, police instructor, hostage negotiator, assistant to the superintendent, and a 9/11 responder. Jim spent 12 years with the New Jersey Department of Health as the emergency response coordinator. He supervised the operation of a field hospital in New Orleans in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. He currently is the Bureau Chief of Emergency Management and Security Bureau, Division of Reliability and Security, New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. He holds a BA in Criminal Justice from the College of New Jersey, an MA in Education Administration from Seton Hall University, and a diploma in Management and Administration from Northwestern University. And for Brian Beam, he has been a research scientist in the Division of Reliability and Security at the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities for more than 20 years. His primary areas of responsibility are domestic security and preparedness and emergency management. He is a member of the New Jersey Domestic Security Preparedness Task Force's Domestic Security Preparedness Planning Group. Brian is also one of the BPU's representatives on the State Emergency Management Program Stakeholders Committee and State Emergency Response Committee. Prior to taking on the domestic security responsibilities, he served as a nuclear engineer in the Division of Service Evaluation with responsibility for all nuclear-related issues at the Board of Public Utilities. Brian holds various certificates in emergency management and preparedness and received his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Pennsylvania State University and his master's degree in business administration from the University of North Carolina. So let me get their presentation started. All right. We should be ready to go.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Great. Hi, this is Brian Beam. Again, as Catherine said, I'm a research scientist with the Board of Public Utilities, and I am a Hunterdon County resident in East Amwell Township, just to throw that in there also. So I feel your pain in power outages. And as you know, JCP&L serves the bulk of Hunterdon County, probably 99.9%. There is a small sliver of East Amwell Township that PSE&G provides service for. So don't let the title of the presentation scare you. Well, we are going to talk about our storm and operational readiness briefing here at the BPU. So you can go to the second slide, please, Catherine. Yes, that one. So BPU is a state agency. We are the agency that is primary on ESF 12, and ESF means energy support function, and number 12 is energy. Sorry, not energy support function, emergency support function, number 12, which it deals with energy. So that means electric, natural gas, and petroleum products. We are based here, Jim and I and two other gentlemen are based, I'm talking to you from the Regional Operations and Intelligence Center, the State Police Regional Operations and Intelligence Center. We're based here full-time. BPU's main office is in downtown Trenton, but we are here in West Trenton, again, at the State Police campus. As I said, we are the primary agency for ESF 12, and we have partner agencies from the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, the New Jersey DEP, Department of Community Affairs, Department of Transportation, and the Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. And next slide. So BPU takes an all hazards look at potential hazards. They could be natural disasters, which like snowstorms, ice storms, hurricanes, tornadoes. They could be systems failures. And I think we just had, 20 plus years ago, we had the blackout, the Northeast blackout, which affected about 50 million people. Another emergency situation, a terrorist or intentional acts. We really haven't had that here in New Jersey, knock on wood. You might have heard of some intentional acts on the electric grid in other states, Washington State, North Carolina. But knock on wood, as I said, in New Jersey, we haven't had that. And another thing we're gearing up for, which has really become more prevalent or more of a concern, are potential cyber attacks to the electric grid. In fact, the FBI director, Christopher Wray, at the end of January, testified before Congress about the concerns of a cyber attack by Chinese affiliated cyber attackers. So that's something we're looking at. And as I said, weather events. So Catherine, I think you've lost my slides, or I don't see them. So
I was
let's see.
trying to reshare the right screen. So I thought I was, but let me, because I'm sharing something.
There's
So
something
you're
here. It
not
looks like
seeing,
I'm seeing the title slide
now
now.
you're seeing the title
Very
slide.
small. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, and I am when you get it back up, I'm gonna turn it over to Jim Brancotti, he and I are gonna we're sitting here in the same room at the Regional Operations and Intelligence Center. So we're sitting here, so we're gonna tag team back and forth with different slides. So when you get them back up, you'll hear
Okay.
Jim talking.
How are we looking on this one? Sorry, you
Uh,
get so many screens to choose from.
Yes,
Oh,
that's great.
this is the
Next
right
slide,
one.
Jim. That's not perfect. I just finished that slide, and Jim's gonna take
So
the
now we're
next
gonna go on to slide 4. Excellent.
4, correct.
There we go.
Okay, so this is Jim Brancotti, and this is our electrical distribution company, their territories. And, no, we're not on mute. Okay. And as you can see, the 4 major companies, PSE&G, Jersey Central, Atlantic City Electric, and Rockland Electric, RECO. And how they're split up. We have, as of this morning, there I am. We had 4,087,381 active regulated meters in New Jersey, of which right now 1,170 are out of service. Now, this is constant. Meters can be out of service for a number of reasons, and this can change because early this morning, there were only 284 out. And we have a joint map that we see all these outages, and it refreshes every 15 minutes. So we have customers throughout the state. What we do is we constantly monitor the electric service in the state, and we work with, one of the reasons we're here at the Rock is because we're so close to we work with the State Emergency Operations Center. Anytime there's any type of utility disruption, we share that information with the state police, or they share it with us. And primarily what we've been involved in, or what we're most involved in, are preparation for weather events. So what we do pre-storm is we get, you want to change the slide, please, Catherine? I'm sorry. No, we're going to go. We've already gone through, this has been gone through by JCP&L. So here we are at storm preparation. We look at the weather forecast, and we take our weather information from one source, which is the National Weather Service. We ask the companies, JCP&L, what is your outage prediction? What do you think you're going to get out of this based on the impact of this storm, based on what your meteorologists are seeing? Have you asked for mutual aid, okay, acquisition of resources? Do you think the storm is going to be that impactful that you're going to have to bring in crews from sister companies or contractors, or from other states, or even Canada? We remain in constant contact with the utilities. before, during, and after the storm. We usually start a couple days out. Brian and I were just discussing this morning the possibility of weather coming in Monday night into Tuesday. So either tomorrow or on Monday morning, we will contact all 4 EDCs and ask about what their weather predictions are and what the preparation will be. We get on conference calls with the stakeholders. We get on the state police conference call with the National Weather Service, with all the county OEMs, and again, try to discuss and lay out what actually is expected. We talk about mitigation issues, different substations that are vulnerable. Some have damming for flooding. A lot of equipment in recent years has been elevated to get it out of the flood zone. And then we get what's called a battle rhythm from the state police. It tells us when they're going to be activated, what level they'll be activated to, and what they expect from us as far as reporting. During a full activation, it's usually every 2 hours around the clock, we provide outage numbers to the state police, who then pull all the information together as far as road closings, utility outages, flooding, etc., and they send that on to the governor's office. We set up our internal team for staffing for around the clock. It can be remote or it can be here at the Rock. And we also, if it's a predicted hurricane, we review the hurricane decision support tool, which has all the different entities at the state level, and then, different decision points that when we have to make certain decisions about our responsibilities. Okay, next slide, please. You want to do the next one?
Sure. So let me show you get a little camera time here. So let's assume a major event has happened. So a hurricane is hit, tropical storm is hit, large ice storm is hit. So one of the things while we're sitting here at the Rock, and again, the 4 of us, and we may pull in extra people as necessary here at the Rock, we're going to be looking at the electric distribution companies. In other words, the electric utilities, workforce deployment. Where are they concentrating their workforce? We're going to be evaluating their outage response. And probably the first thing we always ask is, when you've got X amount of people out of power, when are those people coming back? By BPU mandate, the electric utility, has 24 hours to tell us what they think the worst case scenario is for that last person is going to be restored. And that's called an ETR, estimated time of restoration. So if in 24 hours after a storm hits Hardin County, let's say, they have to tell us when they think the last person in Hardin County is going to be restored. They have to tell us actually for their whole system. So maybe Hardin County got a glancing blow from a snowstorm, but Sussex County really got whacked. So the Sussex restoration timeline may be a little bit later than the Hardin County timeline. So we're looking at ETRs, estimated time restoration, for across JCP&L's system, and we're getting the ETRs from all 4 electric companies in the state. And just for clarification, we regulate BPU, Board of Public Utilities, regulates JCP&L, PSE&G, Rockland Electric, or Orange and Rockland, and also Atlantic City Electric. Those are the 4 electric utilities that we regulate. And let's see, during a storm, just moving down the list here, we're asking about mutual aid and oversight. How many crews, how many mutual aid crews, how many people did you request? Where are they coming into? Where are you deploying those? We're here at the Rock, and we're also coordinating with other ESFs. So as I said, ESF 12 is energy. ESF 1 is transportation. There's a large room here at the Rock. If you've never visited it, holds about 100 computer desks, 120. And we're sitting in that room with them. And I'm just seeing a question. What is the Rock? The Rock is ROIC, Regional Operations and Intelligence Center. ROIC, they pronounce it Rock. So that's where we are. That's where Jim and I are. That's where this large room is that all the ESFs are in. Our friends from the New Jersey Department of Transportation are here. New Jersey Department of Health is here. New Jersey DEP is here. Human Services are here. So we're coordinating with them. Our friends with, let's say, transportation, will tell us about state roads being closed. Let's say Hardin County, let me see, 202, Route 31, Hardin County, those type of roads. Department of Health would tell us if Hardin Medical Center is out of power. DEP, let me see. I'm trying to think. DEP. In Lambertville, I know there's a Veolia Water. They're now known as Veolia Water. They have a dam there, and they have some facilities there. So DEP would typically let us know if there's problems at power issues at Veolia Water. Human Services will tell us about if there's any shelters set up in Hardin County and that shelter doesn't have any power. Maybe at the county armory on Route 12, something like that. So let's see, going down the list, we're also talking with internal state police bureaus here, the Emergency Management Bureau at The Rock. And I should also say, The Rock is the state fusion center where everybody's sitting and talking to each other. We're also joining stakeholder calls. JCP&L has, sometimes they're known as mayor's calls. We'll sit in and listen on them. We're also supplying information to the governor's office. The governor wants to know how many people were out, and again, what is the estimated time of restoration, EDR, the ETR. And also, again, we're just looking at the whole restoration process, because when a storm hits New Jersey, it's typically not just JCP&L, maybe the whole state or northern half of the state. So we're general oversight of restoration efforts for multiple electric utilities. So I don't know, Jim, you want to take that one or?
No, you take that one. I'll
Okay,
take that one.
okay. So, Catherine, next slide, please. All right, ongoing initiatives. So, the one I'm going to highlight is AMI. And AMI basically is, you might have heard of smart meters. They're being installed across the state. Are the electric utility known as Rockland Electric / Orange and Rockland. They have completed their installation. They were the first one. They only have, as Jim said, there's about 4 million, just over 4 million electric meters in the state. Into an electric utility. A customer is not a person. A customer is an electric meter. So as Jim said, there's 4 million, just almost 4.1 million electric meters in the state. So New Jersey is going to AMI, our smart meters, across the whole state. I believe Atlantic City Electric is going to finish late this year. JCP&L is going to finish their installation, I believe, in 2025. And PSE&G, since they're the largest electric utility in the state, they're going to be finished with their smart meter installation in 2026. The benefits of a smart meter is, right now, if your power goes out at your home, your business, at the Hardin County OEM up there in Cherryville, if your power goes out, you have to call. You should call your JCP&L and let them know that your power is out. Once the smart meter installation is complete across all of Hardin County and across all of the state, you won't have to call. The company will be able to ping, they call it pinging the meter, and they'll know if your meter is spinning or not. So you won't have to call them. It will save trips from JCP&L employees to figure out if the power is on or off at your, again, office or home. And so we're looking forward to that. Again, it's probably going to be 2026 till the whole state is completed, 2025 for Hardin County JCP&L territory. So again, that will be a large advancement. We're catching up here in New Jersey, truthfully. A lot of the other states in the country are have a lot more AMI installed than we do. So again, we're looking forward to that. Some other things we're doing is outage prediction models, EDC refinement of outage prediction models. I guess this is always an ongoing thing. If weather's coming in, the companies, the electric utilities, put in the parameters into their model and it spits out a number like they think, oh, there's going to be 100 outages, let's say, because of this storm. They can handle that. now they put in the parameters of a storm, let's say a hurricane's coming towards New Jersey. It's going to hit Monmouth County, which JCP&L serves. And the outage prediction models spits out 100,000 outages. Well, then JCP&L needs to look at, do they need to bring in outside help, mutual aid? So that's one of the ongoing initiatives that we're looking at. Vegetation management, the BPU's really division of energy has been looking at that. It's being refined. Cyber threats, as I said, an increasing threat across Harnett County, across the United States, across the world. So, and let me see. And there is an increased focus on natural gas and electric here at the Rock in collaboration with the state police due to the recent attacks on electrical infrastructure, as I mentioned before, in North Carolina and Washington State. So I'll turn it over to Jim for the next slide. Catherine, next slide, please.
One of the advantages that, I think we gotta go back. Right?
I think that one, skip
Oh,
that
okay,
one.
we could skip that one, Catherine. Let's go one more. These are
We
just
might have to
major
we might
events.
have to go back.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, go back
No,
one. Let me see. No.
okay, now forward. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Keep going. Keep going. These are events we've been involved in. Okay, here we go. One of the advantages that we have in New Jersey is one of two states where the head of the state police is also the director of emergency management. This allows for what they call flat, fast communication. And in addition to, working on our outage activities and weather events, etc., we're also involved on what we call blue sky days in a number of other areas, both on the criminal, the terrorism, cybersecurity, all different avenues, all different committees and things that keep us well informed on what's going on in the utility world, such as when we sit on the State Emergency Response Commission, the Domestic Security Preparedness Group, the State Emergency Management Partners Group, BSF 12, every month we have electric and natural gas security working group calls. We have what we call the PERP calls. It used to be called the hurricane call. We talk about what's going on, what are we expecting, what's going on in the industry. One of the things that is going on is we have the supply chain issues that we want to be aware of, both on the electrical side for things like transformers, also on the water side for valves and castings, etc. We deal with the FEMA, Department of Energy, CISA, BPU calls. We sit on, we go to meetings on the New England, New York Winter Fuels Coordination, where we talk about how is the supply of energy or natural gas or even kerosene throughout the area, so that we're prepared and that all the customers have adequate supply. We're on the radiological emergency response planning. If there were to be a nuclear event, and how would that affect the delivery of power to New Jersey? Next slide, please. You want to do this one?
Sure. And also some continuing things we sit on. There's a rail train/rail state coordination committee. I think you'll remember, we're coming up on a year ago, and on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, there was a spill, toxic chemical spill out there. So we sit in on that. We do attend, JCP&L annually holds exercises or get-togethers with the county OEM. I typically go to Harnett County. I didn't this year. Sit in with Braden Fady. I'm sure you guys know Braden, and we sit in when JCP&L visits Hunterdon County up there in Cherryville, and they go through the exercises. It's really a get-together just to make sure there's connectivity at the Hunterdon County OEM. And JCP&L typically presents what's new, what's going on in Harnett County. And JCP&L serves 13 counties, so myself, Jim, and others of our staff, we attend all of the county OEM exercise schedule permitting, I'll say. The electric utilities, each of them, JCP&L included, obviously, hold an annual storm drill. We sit in on that. I think this was JCP&L's was September of last year. Typically, they hold it in the fall. So we sit in, we bring our whole crew, we sit in on that. Supply chain. As Jim has mentioned, there were some supply chain issues during COVID that really was the peak of it. It's calmed down a little bit now, but we still are watching that. We're watching the flow of ships actually through the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal, the impact that could have. We have done coordination meetings. I don't think there's any here in Harnett County that we've done because we've done them with Naval Weapons Station Earl, Picatinny Arsenal, Coast Guard Cape May, and I missed one.
Base.
Joint Base McGuire Dix Lakehurst. We've held coordination meetings with those 4 facilities that I named and got them together with their utilities that supply those military installations. We do on annual basis. Last year we did about 50 critical infrastructure inspections across the whole state. We go anywhere from Cape May up to Sussex County. I think we did trying to think. We did in Lambertville last year, we did a critical infrastructure inspection of a Brightspeed telephone central office. And let's see, we sit in on the New York State Security Working Group since we're neighbors to them. And we also have a monthly meeting of the BPU Cybersecurity Working Group that's hosted actually by our director, Frank Gaffney. And let's see, Jim, you want to take the last one? And we've got one more slide. I think Jim's going to take it. So Catherine, the next slide, please. So, yeah.
Okay, so we're involved. There's something called the Urban Area Security Initiative Program. It's in 7 counties in the Northeast, and we do what's called red team exercises. We send people out. We kind of test the security at different critical facilities, including power facilities, substations, etc. We want to make sure that the employees recognize suspicious activity and report it up through the chain. We also get suspicious activity reports weekly and monthly from the from New Jersey Department of Homeland Security, reporting all the different, whether it's a drone landing in a substation, whether it's someone taking photographs of critical facilities, etc. And we coordinate that reporting through the utilities. We have a continuity of operations plan to keep the Board of Public Utilities running, that we have to take care of. I think is it yearly or every couple of years we have to update that. We're working right now with Rowan University on a New Jersey State Energy Security Plan. How secure are we in being able to get the utilities powered, delivered to all the customers? So we look at all kinds of things: cybersecurity, weather, all different. They're looking through all these different threats that we encounter here in New Jersey. Brian sits on the Unmanned Aircraft Systems Subcommittee, the Drone Committee, because again, there's a lot of confusion about what you can and can't do with a drone as a government entity, but also what the public can do, what the limits are around critical facilities. And we sit on the, let's see, we have to do what's called a THIRA, threat identification, every year. We run a lot of exercises, not only with the electrical utilities, but others. We're included in National Guard exercises, state police exercises, and we're at the table to provide information on how we would keep the power on in a really catastrophic situation, whether it be weather, terrorism, etc. We're with the wastewater security group, and we're on the governor's commodities task force. Now, this is an interesting one. When it first started, the supply chain issues were diesel fuel, baby formula, and chickens. But that didn't sound very good for the task force. So they said, you know what, we better make it commodities. But being on I've been in state government now almost, I'm in my 47th year, and it's the first time I was on such a great named committee, the chicken subcommittee. But anyway, now it's called commodities, and we try to track all this stuff. So the point we're trying to get across is there are many things that we do on blue sky days with the utilities, with other state entities, planning for emergencies and disasters. And then once we're involved in a situation, we have our response activities that can keep us busy, sometimes 24 hours a day for for a number of days. On New Year's Day at 6:24 a.m., we activated, I think the first messages went out on those a few storms that came through, and we went pretty much around the clock until January 19th, when things calmed down a little bit. And as I said, there's a possibility of some snow next Monday, Tuesday. We'll be working on that tomorrow and again on Monday for the preparation. We work well with the utilities. We have a great relationship with them. We're always in contact with them, and we're available to you if you have any issues that we can help you with. So if you have any questions, we'll take them, Captain.
So we did have one question about readiness activities, including the local CERT teams.
CERT is actually controlled locally, and it's the program initially, I guess, came out through state police. Some towns have CERTs, others do not, but that's really a local issue. We have no control over CERT.
And then we had another question. It might be something for Amy about an app for reporting outages, and what's the best way to get that out quickly?
JCP&L, what we have, you could sign up for text message alerts and to get statuses. That's what we're doing right now, as it stands on the customer front for getting updates on outages. You can text for the status and whatnot. And we also have our outage map, and we've been working on systematic improvements as well to provide clear statuses and ETRs and things of that nature. So that's where we stand currently.
This is Jackie. If I can add to that, we strongly encourage you to share with your residents that it's important for them to link their cell phone account to their utility account. Because most people, when they created the account, it could have been years ago, and they had their home phone number. And many people have disconnected their home phone number, no longer use it, or they still have it, but they don't have an actual phone hooked up to it. So for communication purposes, you can add your email, you can add your cell phone, and the feature works really well. Because I recently had power outage, I think it was like over the summer, and I was able to text it. I was like, oh, wow. Quick response. We went out for ice cream, and while we were eating our ice cream, I got a text message back saying it was restored, and I was able to all right, let's go home now. So it is a great feature that we use, the text messaging. Thank you, Amy. Yes, you can report an outage via text.
And I guess
Somebody
with the
just-
new smart meters, I guess there'll be a lot of changes when those get introduced.
Yes, and we're in the process of, I think Jim was talking about that earlier, of installing these meters. And then once they're fully connected, that's when they actually become the smart meter, and we'll be able to ping. You won't have to report your outage. We're going to know immediately. So all good things in the works. Video.
Hey, Jackie.
Hello.
And then how does the BPU react to local concerns regarding utility complaints?
Those come into usually to the leadership, and then it gets sent down to whatever department it is, whether it's telecommunications, electricity, etc. We follow up with the utility, depending on what it is. If it's an ongoing issue, the energy deals with it. If it's an emergency issue, we deal with it. We reach right out, generally to the complainant to find out the specifics. We might go out and visit the site if it's an issue on a pole or wires, etc. And sometimes those can be confusing because maybe it's not the electric utility that owns the pole. Maybe it's Verizon or someone else. So first we have to determine that, figure out where it goes, and then get some coordination to respond to those complaints.
Then we just got another question about the AMI meters. You're thinking about 2 years on that? And is that a customer, would customers install that at their expense, or how does that work?
I can answer that. We expect to have them all by the end of 2025, approximately in Hunterdon County. And right now, too, my understanding is, say you need a new meter or you have to get a new meter from us, it's an AMI that we would install. It's just not turned on yet and connected. But what will happen is you will get a notice in the mail about 60 days prior to the yes, I believe it's in the mail from JCP&L saying that a smart meter's coming. We're going to be installing it. And then about 2 weeks before, we're doing another outreach. Hey, just a reminder, smart meter's coming. We're installing it at no cost. And then let me see, can you still TOD service with AMI?
It's time of day. We'll have to follow up on that.
Yes, that I have to follow up on, and I know that's been asked before. I think that may be coming, but not at the initial connection of them, is my understanding.
Maybe you could explain that a little bit?
What
Time
about
of day service.
satellite demand?
Oh, so years ago, there was from what I understand, I'm not an expert in the meter department, but we can certainly get more information. But what I believe it was, and this was a service from years ago where you would agree to put more of your load, like do your load in the later hours, time of day service. So there was a different rate available for, say you did all your your dishwashing, you tried to shift your load to off-peak hours.
Yeah, we'll follow up for sure. I know it's some of the different, I know it's some of the different types. I was told later on as far as demand and whatnot, but I get this is different. This is the lower rate after the peak hours. Okay.
I did see a question there on how do we prepare for cyber attacks? Well, we sit here, the cyber cell, New Jersey's NJ Kick is right upstairs. As a matter of fact, I was with the director this morning discussing this stuff. We have weekly meetings with the utilities, with their cyber folks to talk about the latest threats, the latest defenses, etc. It's just a ever evolving area that we constantly worry about. We listened to the entire congressional hearings last week from Washington, and it is an ongoing problem. As the cyber threats and physical threats ramp up, we are trying to take more and more steps and be more and more integrated with the law enforcement and intelligence side that we can mitigate these circumstances.
And let me just add that here at The Rock, there are a number of FBI folks, and we liaison with them pretty much on a daily basis. We'll see them. There's a thing here called the Huddle where all the agencies meet at 10 a.m. on Monday through Friday, and we'll go up and we'll participate in the huddle. So if there's a cyber event at any electric utility in the state, your first responders would be the FBI. And as Jim said, the New Jersey Kick, the cyber folks that sit upstairs here at The Rock, they are the first responders. But we do talk to the FBI, we do talk to the Kick, if not on a daily basis, at least on a weekly basis, where we have interface with them. We've been invited to sit in and classified briefings with them. Jim and I both have security clearances, so we can hear the highest level information, if necessary, if they pull us in, if it involves, electric, natural gas, or water or telecommunications utilities.
There was a question, what is NJ Kick?
NJ Kick is, again, the cybersecurity folks, and now you're going to ask me to remember the acronym. So it's New Jersey Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Cell.
Correct.
CCIC. It's pronounced weird, just like The Rock is pronounced weird, but it's NJ, New Jersey, CCIC, Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Cell. They are the cyber folks.
I just wanted to add about the cybersecurity, next to safety is number one priority at JCP&L First Energy, and so is cybersecurity. We take it very seriously. They even set up, I guess, trainings in addition to, they'll even send out emails to test us to make sure we're on our toes and not clicking on emails that we shouldn't be. We can't even put a thumb drive into our laptop computers, and it's all for security reasons. We had the head of security come out and talk to us one time, and after he did speak to us, gave us an overview and how important this all is, and they have a group that is focused on this. I said, whatever you need, whatever you tell me to do, I will follow and do. Because when they first came out with, you couldn't put the thumb drive in, I'm like, oh, how am I going to go out and do presentations? And I said, whatever you need, we'll be there to support. So it is taken very seriously here at the company.
I think that wraps up the questions that we have.
Yeah, that's all I see. So once, twice, any other questions? We want to thank everyone for attending this virtual breakfast talk. I do also apologize for having the weird screen bit going on for a bit. Hopefully that it all still worked out and you got good information out of this session. And I don't believe we actually posted the contact information for our presenters as we normally do, but obviously we do have their contact information if that's something that would be useful. And we will finish this recording and email it to those who registered. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or the planning email at planning.co.hunterdon.nj.us. And we'll be able to connect you with any contact that would be helpful. Thank you very much. We'll see you another time. Thanks.